This is the third wheel with Jimmy B. Jimmy B's actually somewhere in the building. This is where we talk about anything and everything automotive. Thank you for joining us this morning. And remember, you'll be smarter for have listening. And again, I'm third wheel. Jimmy B, is he coming in?
I have no idea.
Anyway,
we're just sitting here talking, and he just freaking darts out. Like, come on, dude.
Anyway, yesterday, we were down there at Easy Street Speed and Customs in Milford, and they had another great car show. It was sponsored by the Labor of Love car show by the Lords. It was a great show. There was a lot of cars, probably about 50 cars again. There's Jimmy B. Hey, Jimmy B. Welcome to the show. You want to put
Hi.
You caught me off guard. Actually, we were running a little late. So here's Jimmy B.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry I was late. I was outside talking to some people and didn't realize what time it was. I heard you talking about the car show yesterday.
Yeah, it was terrific.
It was an awesome show. Great day for it. Border Lords really did a good job hosting that show out there at Easy Street, and we want to thank them for having us out.
Border Lords, that's what it was. By the way, I just found my notes, so
okay.
now it should run a little smoother.
Why didn't you call me when you realized I wasn't here?
Call you from where?
I have a cell phone. Actually, I didn't have it with me, but there you go. We did have a good time out there yesterday. There were some cars out there. They drew some cars that I've never seen before from some outlying areas, which was really cool. And they did real good for Shriners Burn Center, Children's Burn Center. We appreciate being involved in that. The other, we also want to mention, of course, every week as we do, Operation Troop Aid, our charity of choice. Mark Woods, founder, they put together and present care packages to deployed troops. They have staff sergeants on the ground out there who make sure that these care packages get to the troops that are the furthest away from supplies. And they're the guys and girls that really need it. And we support them. Check out operationtroopaid.org. And another one that I want to prop is Patriot Guard Riders. PatriotGuardRiders.org. And the reason for that is yesterday, heading south on 75, I got to see a Patriot Guard escort of a fallen soldier. And it was really moving, and to see these guys on their bikes, flagged up, American flags, POWMIA flags, support our troops flags. It was really impressive. And it was a moving thing to see. And the very lead bike up in the front, there was probably 25, 30 bikes. The one up in front had a big flag on the back of his that said, some gave all. And we got to remember those guys. Never forget those that give us our freedoms and allow us to do all the great things that we do here in this country. So check out PatriotGuardRiders.org and support those guys for all they do.
Yeah, and I also like to say real quick as we're going through some of our sponsors is don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and our WordPress blog. And for information about sponsoring on the show, go to Dipsticks and Deals. That's dipsticksanddeals.com, and check out the Advertise on D&D tab.
And if you want to get involved, you can always call us right here at the studio, 513-579-1160. You can send us a Facebook message or an email at ask@dipsticksdeals.com. We've also got Jimmy B at dipsticksanddeals.com and The Third Wheel, spell it out, The Third Wheel at dipsticksanddeals.com. We love to respond to all of your emails. Met a lot of nice folks out there that we know are listening this morning, and we appreciate all those folks that came up and talked to us and spent a little time with us at our booth that we had set up. We also want to thank one of our big sponsors, Easy Street Speed and Customs, 513-831-7550.
They're out there on 701 Chamber Drive, Milford, Ohio.
What do they do out there?
They do everything.
They have got just an incredible facility. If you have an old car that you are wanting to restore, a late model car that you're wanting to upgrade, they do it all. And really the restoration part of it is kind of a sideline. They do restoration, but most of what they do is custom work. So
they build premium
build
custom cars and classic restorations.
They do. And they do an incredible job. You should go out there and see those folks.
They sell them.
They do have some vehicles that they do sell. Plus, because they are in that industry, if you're interested in purchasing a car, those still are the guys you want to see because they have all the sources for those hot cars to be able to buy them. They can even buy the type of car you're looking for that needs to be restored or customized, and they can do that too. So I know they've done that for a few people.
I tell you what, though, I was reading up about them, and some of those guys have some cars. Give you an idea on if you look on their webpage and you read about some of the stories. One guy has 6 cars valued at $2.2 million.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, incredible. And it's a good investment, really.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because they're not going to depreciate. You might have to hang on to them for a while if the economy nosedives, but you know what I'm saying? It's something that you're going to maintain some value in because you can't find those cars anymore.
And I hate to mess up the show's format.
Then don't do it.
But I have to.
Okay.
Yesterday when we were there, we decided to go over to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Don't blow the segment later.
Okay. About.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to say it was just something about when I was reading the Easy Street Customs website, the gentleman who owned that type of car was a much older gentleman.
Right.
So that is what I was going to say is later on you'll be talking about generations.
Yeah.
And where they're going with
thank
cars.
you for not bringing the spoiler. Trying to get me back for being downstairs talking to the Channel 19 people.
Yeah, thanks.
Rob Key Automotive, another big sponsor, 859-431-3733. Can you tell me something about Rob Key Automotive?
They're good people. They're very good people. But they also have the thing that I like is called the Scorpion Spray and Bed Liner. I think they're the regional rep.
It's the only place you can get it.
Right. And that's pretty cool. One thing I didn't know about the Scorpion Spray and Bed Liner was it is available with Kevlar gripper crumb.
Yes, it is.
Can you tell me what that is?
It's Kevlar.
Is it just mixed into the paint or
into the material? It's Kevlar, little Kevlar. You can adjust the crumb, they call it, for texture.
Okay.
So you can make it bulletproof. So I guess you could spray it on the outside of your SUV if you really wanted to do some good with it.
And the cool thing, there's 12 standard colors, but they can also match your paint.
They are the only one that can do paint code color matching, which you would only want to do on a custom application. You wouldn't want to have to spend the money or try to clean a orange bed or a white or yellow bed. You want it black if you're going to use it. But they're the only ones that can match it if you got a custom application, like all those folks that were out at that show yesterday.
Now we're going on a break. Are you coming back?
No, I told them I'd be right back downstairs, so okay. You're on your own. You're listening to Jimmy being a third wheel on Dipsticks and Deals, Real Talk 1160.
Weather when you need it. Your Real Talk 1160 forecast every 15 minutes.
Here's the forecast for Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, and the Tri-State. As we wrap up the weekend, look for partly sunny skies and a high of 81. There's a slight chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. It'll be partly cloudy tonight, a low 58. There's a slight chance of rain. We could have a thunder shower Monday afternoon. It'll be mostly sunny with a high near 80. We'll have partly cloudy skies Monday night, a low 55. Tuesday should be sunny with a high of 78. From the Real Talk 1160 Weatherbug Forecast Center, this is Rod Tanner.
I guess I called AA because alcohol didn't work anymore. Drinking used to give me a sense of meaning in life. I called AA not knowing what to expect. Certainly not cheerfulness, but that's what I got. People had humor. They seemed to be at ease. I hung around. Now I feel much more comfortable with myself and the people around me. Alcoholics Anonymous. It works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or AA.org.
Laura Ingram?
Yeah, ding, 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 ding.
We've got an app for that.
Oh, fantastic.
Download TuneIn Radio for your Android, iPhone, or BlackBerry. And listen to Real Talk 1160 anywhere, anytime.
Your healthy radio addiction.
How's the expansion plans going for your business?
Oh, I'm holding off until the economy improves.
Really? Are your competitors on hold for the next few years?
Well,
I'm not waiting. I called General Steel Corporation. Their steel buildings have been used for businesses, churches, and schools around the world. They showed me how to save real money on a building designed for my needs and to my specifications. I can actually operate more efficiently in a building they helped me design. While my competitors are sitting on the sidelines waiting for economic change, I'm going to make my own change and take market share.
When this economy turns around, I'll be in the lead. Come on. You didn't start your business by waiting for someone to tell you when the time is right. Stop sitting on your hands and pick up the phone. Oh, and ask about these rebates that can save you up to $20,000.
Call 800-215-2418. 800-215-2418. That's 800-215-2418.
If you drive a car, you must have this number, 1-800-828-0159. The number to STI Towing, the Tri-States Towing Pros. STI handles most motor clubs, including AAA, and they offer prompt, courteous, and professional service all day and all night. Mention Real Talk 1160 and the first 5 miles are free. That's 1-800-828-0159. 1-800-828-0159 for STI Towing.
Sometimes people buy cookies as a gift for us to send to our soldiers. They tell us it reminds them of home.
Emily is one of thousands of Girl Scouts who will send cookies to troops stationed overseas. Every Girl Scout cookie has a mission to help girls do great things.
Here at Columbia Hyundai, because of high trade value, it's possible to trade in your used car and keep your current payment or even lower it for a comparable new Hyundai.
Wow, John, what are we talking about payment-wise?
Right now, get a new 2013 Hyundai Accent for $149 a month, or a new 2013 Elantra for $169 a month, or a new 2013 Sonata for just $179 a month. This is a 36-month lease. Other than tax and title, only $19.99 due at signing. And all these cars get over 40 miles per gallon on the highway.
This is National Fuel Efficiency Month.
National Fuel Efficiency Month is not an official government holiday, but it is with new Hyundai buyers. Plus, all new Hyundais come with America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and the Hyundai Assurance.
That's a better warranty than a Jaguar.
And we can get finance approval in 30 minutes or less, even if you have blemished credit. And remember, we need good trades, so we'll give you top dollars for yours.
Only at Columbia Hyundai on Montgomery Road at I-275.
Call 489-2000 or see our video at ColumbiaHyundai.com.
Hi, folks. Debbie Robke with Robke Automotive. I'm here to tell you about Northern Kentucky's best full-service used car store. Shop Robke for sales, service, parts, collision repair, and rental car. Robke Automotive, where quality is superior, our prices can't be beat, our service is guaranteed, and our parts come with a national warranty. Come visit Robke and see why our customers are always smiling. Robke Automotive, I-275 at Exit 80 in Northern Kentucky, on the web at GoRobke.com, or check us out on Facebook for fantastic deals of the week.
We're driven to treat you right.
Everyone has an opinion. What's yours? Real Talk 1160.
Welcome back to Dipsticks and Deals on Real Talk 1160. Appreciate you being here with us this morning. Third wheel just went down. I think we got Kenny Coltrane is here today. We're not doing Coltrane's Corner, but I think he stopped in today just to sit in. He went downstairs to get him. Let's get into what's the trivia question for today. What date in the future did Doc Brown set for the DeLorean time machine for he and Marty to transport to the future in Back to the Future 2? We're looking for the furthest date because I think he put a couple dates in there at some point, but we were looking for the latest date in Back to the Future 2. That's for $25 in gasoline, $25 in cash, or you can crash the show and be on air with us live. While we're waiting for third wheel, we're going to take a look at automotive news. Remember that auto bailout? The auto bailout in 2008? Well, you know, the amount of money that taxpayers are going to lose has risen to another 15%, just over $25 billion that they consider unrecoverable. And the loss is actually based on the falling GM stock price, calculated at roughly $25 a share. And I know just last month, the average was like $22 a share. So the bailout's costing us a ton more money. Mid-sized luxury sedans did not do well in recent crash studies. In fact, only the Acura TL and the Volvo S60 passed with a good rating. The Infiniti G Series had an acceptable score. Surprisingly, the BMW, Lincoln, and VW failed with marginal ratings. And here's the big one. Lexus, Audi, and Mercedes all had vehicles that failed the test completely with poor results. And that was in frontal crash tests. So shocking news there for the brands that you think are some of the safest, certainly some of the most expensive. not the best in a crash situation, apparently. These are the smaller, mid-sized cars that they're trying to build, too, just for the fuel economy. Experts are warning that used car history reports are not all they're cracked up to be. Well, welcome to the world of I already knew that. We've talked about that on the show before.
Right.
Just as we did report just a few months ago, as many as 1 million cars a year are rebuilt and resold without a history report blemish. Consumer products gurus say that you should have the vehicle inspected by a technician before you buy it. Don't just rely on that history report. Really, it's just good marketing on Carfax's part, because that's what really got that fever starting, were all the Carfax commercials. They did a great job. The truth is, if a car's totaled and not reported for insurance because either it didn't have insurance or there was no police report, whatever the case is, it can be salvaged, rebuilt, and resold with a clean title. And we see them down at the store. They come in because they go through auction and you don't know it. Now, when we find one, we just put it back through the auction and reject it. You can't do that on the basis that it in fact is a flood car or a total rebuild, but it's obvious when you can take panels off and look at them closely that that's what's happened. So
now, does it have to get reported after that?
No, because you can't confirm it. It's got to be based on fact.
But I mean, as a professional, you can.
As a professional, I can tell you it's been.
But you don't have to report it or do anything.
We don't have to do anything, no. And we can't judge the severity. We can just tell that it's been hit really hard and fixed. Some of them are fixed right, and you know, you don't necessarily need to be afraid of them. Honestly, as long as it's not an underwater car, you can have no issues. In fact, I've got a Silverado HD pickup truck that was a total that I had rebuilt, and it's just like a regular truck. I mean, there's nothing.
I just think if you're a certified master tech or something and you find something similar to that, it should be reported as a somewhat of a disclaimer that possibility because of
it can't be based on fact, but I see what you're saying. Something that's an alert or a yellow caution note.
Maybe.
Just something else to protect consumers. Which Consumers Reports also released the top 5 cars to avoid, and the top of the list are not American-made cars, which is good. The number 1 spot goes to the Honda Civic. Research shows that shortcuts have been taken in the redesign of the Civic, resulting in a noisy, poor handling, choppy little ride, is what Consumer Reports says. The number 2 spot goes to the Toyota. Yes, I said Toyota Prius C. Good gas mileage at the cost of a cheap interior, noisy ride, uncomfortable seats, and very poor acceleration. It's very Yaris-like, they say, on the Toyota. The Jeep Liberty made the list, but the reasons that they cited the Jeep, to me, is kind of a Jeep thing. Poor fuel economy, rough ride, clumsy steering. It's a Jeep. I mean, what are you buying a Jeep for, right? The Liberty's no longer going to be made. Actually, the last one rolled off the assembly line last week, and that was due to poor sales. But the Dodge Grand Caravan also made the list due to reliability problems, poor gas economy, squeaks and rattles. The most popular minivan is also the best for a service shop, and I can agree with that. The last on the list is of crappy cars, says Consumer Reports, is the Ford Edge, which kind of surprised me too, and I don't agree with this one totally, because what they cite as making it crappy is the infotainment system controls, which is really purely objective. That's the navigation, the radio, and all that,
right,
and how it operates. I mean, it's computerized, you know what I mean? So they don't like the way that it navigates through that stuff, which shouldn't put it in this list, I don't think. I mean, I think my iPhone's really simple, but I know people who can't use them. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just one of those things, kind of objective. So I think they're trying to make it more complicated. Really, they talked about road noise, too, and tough steering, but it's a sport utility vehicle with 18-inch wheels on it. What do you expect? You know what I'm saying? So I think those are good cars, my personal opinion. We don't work on a lot of them either, so they must be pretty good. You want to take a look at automotive history?
I guess.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. On August 6, 1932, Richard Hollingshead Jr. registered his patent for a drive-in movie theater, and although it was declared invalid in 1950, by 1958, there were 4,068 drive-ins across the United States. Do you guys remember the drive-ins?
Of course. I love the drive-in.
Our favorite was the Dent.
The Dirty Dent.
The Dirty Dent. Is
the back.
Live in one.
The back two row. You used to live in a drive-in?
Why, sure.
Behind the theater screen.
The voice of Kenny Coltrane, which we spent about a half an hour looking for him in the building.
Yeah, you were going to the wrong door or something. There's only one main door to come in. Well, there's a couple of doors to come in, but the main door, I was down there 3 times, Kenny, and you were nowhere to be found. And you keep texting me saying, I'm here.
Yeah, I know. This is a big building. I don't know where I was.
Hold on, Kenny. First of all, I had to go find you, and you were in a secured area. So I don't even know.
How did he get in there?
Well,
that security guard put me there. He said, son, you need to stand right there and don't move.
But you're already in the secured area.
You were in the area where you have to have one of those electronic things, this right here, to get in.
Well, that remains my secret.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Continue with history.
All right. Back in August 6, 1957, Chevrolet registered a name for its new rear-engine sports car that would ultimately be accused of being unsafe at any speed. Despite the love it or hate it attitude of Americans, the Corvair, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Is now one of the most sought-after collector cars in the world.
Yes, it is.
On August 16, 1937, Harvard University became the first school to institute graduate study courses in traffic engineering and administration. I guess it's safe to say that the folks that built the roads around here didn't go to Harvard.
I would agree with that.
I would have to agree with that.
Because they're messed up.
Nor do they know how to maintain.
They're engineered, but not civilly.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Yeah, a lot of friends are engineers.
Big words.
August 16, 1984, 6 men and 6 women deliberate for 30 hours to come back with an acquittal for automaker John DeLorean.
Yeah.
Little Back to Future car.
Yeah.
He was accused of drug trafficking in 1982 and was made even more famous after the hit movie Back to the Future in 1985 that featured his DMC-12 sports car.
Which is why we have that in our trivia question today.
We do for the gas, cash, and crash.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
All right. On August 16, 1985, the last episode of The Duke of Hazzards aired on this day, ending the 5-year run and making a legend out of the show's main star, which was the General Lee, a 1969 Dodge Charger.
Absolutely.
That was a sad day when that show ended.
I didn't realize it was only on for 5 years. I thought it was on a lot longer than that. It seemed like it.
Reruns was probably on.
I just kept watching it over and over.
Daisy Duke.
The Daisy Dukes. Yeah. I remember that.
Now you want to do gas, cash, and crash? Or did you already do that?
Already did it.
But I'm running around the building looking for Kenny Coltrane. I have no idea where we're at in this show.
I was right where I was supposed to be the whole entire time.
We're going to be taking a break here in a second, and we need to get together and regroup because this show is not going the way it's supposed to. And we apologize.
And thanks, Kenny.
You're welcome.
It's all Kenny Coltrane's fault, which doesn't surprise me in the least. So, you're listening to Jimmy B, the Third Wheel, and Kenny Coltrane on Dipsticks and Deals, Real Talk 1160.
Weather when you need it. Your Real Talk 1160 forecast every 15 minutes.
Here's the forecast for Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, and the Tri-State. As we wrap up the weekend, look for partly sunny skies and a high of 81. There's a slight chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. It'll partly cloudy tonight, a low 58. There's a slight chance of rain. We could have a thunder shower Monday afternoon. It'll be mostly sunny with a high near 80. We'll have partly cloudy skies Monday night, a low 55. Tuesday should be sunny with a high of 78. From the Real Talk 1160 Weatherbug Forecast Center, this is Rod Tanner.
How about real car talk? Maintenance and repairs, buying and selling, hot rods and cool rides, performance, off-road, and auto racing. How about Dipsticks and Deals on Real Talk 1160, the show that's anything and everything automotive, every Sunday morning from 9 to 11. With me, your host, Jimmy B, and the Third Wheel, you'll get industry insight, cool trends, tips and tricks, and a whole lot more. For an entertaining and engaging look into the automotive world, listen to Dipsticks and Deals every Sunday morning at 9 on Real Talk 1160. You'll be smarter for having listened. You want speed, you want power, you want style, you want something that turns heads? Then you want Easy Street Speed and Customs in Milford. Easy Street offers everything from minor repairs to full restoration, custom builds, late model mod, performance parts, and an on-site dyno for real performance tuning. Hot rods and cool rides at Easy Street Speed and Custom, 701 Chamber Drive in Milford, 513-831-7550. That's 513-831-7550.
Hey, it's the Wild Man from Real Sports 1160 here with my friend Rob Bullock. from Bullock Roofing.
Hey, Wild Man.
Rob, I hear you guys are the roofing experts.
That's right, Wild Man. If it has to do with the roof, we can handle it. Roof contracting and replacement, shingles, gutters, chimney repair, skylights. We even offer replacement windows.
Now, what sets Bullock Roofing apart from the other guys?
Wild Man, we are the roofing experts. We do it once, we do it right, and our pride shows in our work. Our customers mean the world to us, and their satisfaction speaks volumes. We're based on old-fashioned value and fair prices.
And word of mouth today is everything.
That's right. Our popularity has grown thanks to our customers telling their family and friends about our quality work.
Take it from Rob Bullock with Bullock Roofing. If you need help with your roof, gutters, chimney, even replacement windows, get the treatment you deserve from the experts at Bullock Roofing.
We service the entire greater Cincinnati area. Find us on the web at bullockroofing.com. That's bullockroofing.com. Call us for a free estimate today at 513-771-2096.
Hi, folks. Debbie. Rob Key with Rob Key Automotive. I'm here to tell you about Northern Kentucky's best full-service used car store. Shop Rob Key for sales, service, parts, collision repair, and rental car. Rob Key Automotive, where quality is superior. Our prices can't be beat, our service is guaranteed, and our parts come with a national warranty. Come visit Rob Key and see why our customers are always smiling. Rob Key Automotive, I-275 at Exit 80 in Northern Kentucky, on the web at gorobkey.com, or check us out on Facebook for fantastic deals of the week.
We're driven to treat you right.
Reincarnation Auto Body and Paint of Northern Kentucky. This is Don. May I help you?
Don, this is Rick from 1160, man.
Hey, Rick. How are you doing?
Not good. Okay, long story short, Pecora loaned me his car to go pick up his dry cleaning, and on my way out, I backed right into a light pole. He is going to kill me.
All right, Rick. Settle down. Bring it in, and I'll personally inspect the damage. I'm positive we can take care of it with no problem at all.
You are the man. But Don, this has to stay between me and you.
Hi, I'm Don Metalka, owner of Reincarnation Auto Body and Paint. Bring your damaged vehicle, and I will personally take the time to show you why Reincarnation is different. We're flexible with your deductible, and I know my experience with handling insurance companies will help you get your repairs done smoothly. Just Google Reincarnation of Northern Kentucky, where we bring good cars back to life. Reincarnation Auto Body and Paint, Don Metalka speaking.
Hey, Don, it's Pecoro. See, I was out driving in the wife's van, and I drove by your lot, and I thought I saw a car that looked like mine.
Yeah, that's a popular color.
Hey folks, Jimmy B here. Did you know that one of the most important structural aspects of your vehicle is the windshield? It accounts for almost 50% of the rollover strength. That's why you must choose the right company for windshield repair and replacement, and that's Mel's Auto Glass. Mel's Auto Glass has certified professionals serving the tri-state for more than 25 years. Don't trust something so important to anyone else. The experts at Mel's Auto Glass for quality, value, and peace of mind. Call 513-563-7771. That's 513-563-7771.
The Mike Huckabee Show, weekdays 3 till 5 on Real Talk 1160.
Dipsticks and deals on Real Talk 1160. Welcome back. During the break, we had to have a little meeting. And we truly apologize to all of our listeners for the discombobulation.
It was not my fault.
Caused by Kenny Coltrane, who was at the back door, which I didn't even know we had a back door. Thanks to Third Wheel, who took the reins and got the show started. We've had to regroup.
So hopefully it'll be as smooth as we are.
I think it'll smooth out from this point forward.
Because we are smooth.
And last week, we started our Kids in Cars segment where we talked about primarily young people in their cars and what they did. And we started in the 50s and went through the 60s and the 70s. And then we ended with the 80s, which is the generation that we're from relative to being new drivers and having cars and all that sort of thing. We decided at that point that the 1980s were the best time to be a teenager relative to cars and all of that. And why don't you tell them a little bit about that? As far as Third Wheel, when we were talking about being exposed to the old 50s, 60s, 70s cars and seeing the new technology coming on.
It was sort of like what we were talking about yesterday when we were over there at the car show, about the generations that are going to miss these type of cars. We're pretty much the last generation, I think, that will appreciate anything from the muscle cars, the custom cars, the classic cars.
Right.
I don't think our children will see the value or even care. Because if you look at these shows, there aren't a lot of young people.
They're not.
And they do have the tuners.
Right.
But as far as the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, the early 70s muscle car, you're just not going to have that anymore. And I wonder what's going to happen, because say our generation's the last generation to have those cars, and when we pass them down to our children or grandchildren, Are they really going to hang on to them? Is
Right.
it really going to be something that may be ever driven? And what's the value of the car going to be? You think it's going to go down. I think it will go up because a lot of those cars I think will just disappear.
Well, I think the demand is going to go down. I don't think there's going to be as many people interested in those because of what you just said. That whole generational shift where they don't care. They don't care about those old cars, you know. And I think it's sad, but we're going to get to that when we get to the millennium part of our segment. Like I said, we started in the 50s, we ended in the 80s, and we've got the 90s and current day to go. So when we're looking at the 1990s, you had the 80s cars out there. You had a few 70 cars left, but there was a big, giant shift, and that started in about 1991. We had real conservative colors. Window tint got probably even bigger at that period of time. And this was the time where I call it the decade of the beaters because you ended up having to drive your dad's car a lot, which could have been a four-door Caprice, could have been an old Cadillac or whatever the case was. Factory wheels, hubcaps were big. True spokes came out pretty much and got heavy in the 90s on some of the cars. Velour interiors were big. Not a lot of factory horsepower cars were built in the 90s. You had a lot of V6 stuff, a lot of computer controls, throttle body injection, few turbos. So you went from an 80s where you had a mix of the old muscle car stuff still out on the street, available modifications to cars even built in the 80s, because through the mid-80s, I mean, you didn't have the super muscle cars, but you did have the Buick Grand National. The Mustangs in the 80s were hot, right? You always had the Corvette. So you still had some of that. Once you got into the 90s, a lot of that disappeared because of emissions, fuel economy. Fuel was expensive.
But do you think it also is because the factory put stuff on the cars so the kids' creativity is gone? I mean,
yeah.
Because I'm just saying, when you used to get an old stock style car and it was pretty plain Jane, go out and get aftermarket parts, do this, do that, whatever, wheels, jack it up, whatever you had to do. These cars in that era, in the 90s, I mean, there was, like you said, the bling bling, and there's a lot of things that were on it already from the factory.
There were a lot more creature comforts because it was the 90s when it was more odd to have a car that didn't have power windows and locks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where in the muscle car era, in the 70s and stuff, those were budget muscle cars. The purpose was high horsepower, quick quarter-mile times. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about creature comforts, which in the 90s it became that, but it was also a time when American manufacturers were trying to compete with the Europeans and try to build nicer luxury-type cars with amenities that the European cars had already had for years. It's unfortunate they kind of did a bad job at doing that. 4x4 truck popularity continued to grow out of the 80s. Late 80s into the 90s got really popular. Jeeps, the lowrider mini trucks in the 90s. A lot of guys were dumping S10s and stuff and old Toyotas.
Yeah, we had one of those.
Slamming them on the ground. That was starting to get big, which was just, again, it's supply and demand. Is what was available to the kids in the 90s versus the 80s, the 70s, etc. And that's the stuff that was available that they could buy. It was readily available. They could afford to buy it. The problem was there wasn't a lot of options for fixing the stuff up. So you had to be creative if you wanted to have something different. Asian cars, you know, in the 90s, the handling in an Asian car and the factory performance really took full steam and bypassed anything the American car manufacturers were capable of building. True in the 90s. Even now, you still had your Mustang, your 90s decade Mustangs, that would eat up some of these foreign cars. Don't get me wrong, performance-wise. That's all going to change, and we're going to get to that. But they started to get on the hook, understanding performance and how to make those little econo boxes get decent gas mileage and perform well. That's why they're still popular even today, some of those 90 cars built by the Japanese. Big stereo systems. Big thumpers.
That was the huge change from the late 80s to the 90s.
That's right, because they started doing stereo competitions and things like
amps.
that. Yes. Big boom boxes, big giant speakers got real big in the 90s, which, again, if you didn't have the performance products available for some of these cars that were out in the 90s. That's something that can go in any car, so that's where they went.
But to give some credit where credit is due for the 90s and those kids in the 90s is that they built those boxes.
They did.
They did. They didn't just go to a store and buy it at a Best Buy. I don't think it was in around. They manufactured everything themselves.
They did, and then there was some engineering relative to what amp wattage and what speakers and all of that kind of stuff that went into it. So you still had some creativity needed to do that kind of stuff in the 90s. We saw the CDs come into play in the 90s, so the mid to late 90s. Cassette tapes were dead. So everybody was switching out and doing that. FM became dominant on the airwaves in the 90s is when you started flipping it over to FM for the music. We talked about the 50s with fuzzy dice in the mirrors.
Fuzzy dice.
Yeah. We talked about the 60s with peace signs and feathers. The 70s was a marijuana leaf.
It was.
The 80s was your college tassel hanging from the mirror.
Yeah, I remember that.
What was it in the 90s?
Probably those little was it air fresheners? And
little trees. Little trees. Yeah. Everybody started putting the trees hanging from the mirrors. The one thing that I never did really like a whole lot was, and again, it all has to do with there not being a lot available, but chrome add-ons got really big. Chrome door edge guards, chrome wheel well openings, chrome tailpipe extensions.
I remember that.
All the chromey add-on cheap stuff got big in the 90s, and because it was cheap and readily available, a lot of guys were putting that, a lot of girls were putting that on their cars. We went through a phase where people were bending up their antennas. Remember the cars that had the antennas twisted like lightning bolts and all kind of stuff? Yeah, that was kind of a fad. What about the dash crowns? You remember them things?
The air fresheners?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Remember
like
the controversy or the myths and whatnot?
Yeah,
that
if you
went
had
on?
one, you're part of a gang, and you did
Or you're a
this,
drug dealer. Yeah,
and
the little crowns you put on the back dash.
And it looked like that Mrs. Butterworth. Remember that? Not Mrs. Butterworth, the butter.
Yeah. Can't believe it's not butter.
Yeah, the crown.
The crown.
That's stupid.
Four doors became fairly dominant, especially in the late 90s. Everything that was being built in a four-door. Spoilers and wings got really big.
Whale tail.
And really
Whale
stupid.
tail. That was dumb.
Wings
Half
in the
of 'em
90s.
didn't fit the car.
They didn't, but wings was the thing to do, and that's what everybody did. Body graphics got big. You saw some crazy giant body graphics on the side of the cars in the 90s. And again, they didn't have a lot to work with. So this kind of fad trend stuff that came out that they could afford is what they did to personalize their car. And I don't blame them for it. I think that's it's being creative. It's continuing the culture of customizing cars, which I 100% agree with. Strict emissions, including emission testings in the 90s. We had to go through and do
That
e-check.
was ridiculous.
We're going to finish out the 90s and get into current day, and things really get different for the car culture with kids and cars. We'll check that out when we get back. Dipsticks and Deals on Real Talk 1160.
Weather when you need it. Your Real Talk 1160 forecast every 15 minutes.
Here's the forecast for both the Kentucky, Cincinnati, and the Tri-State. As we wrap up the weekend, look for partly sunny skies and a high of 81. There's a slight chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. It'll be partly cloudy tonight, a low 58. There's a slight chance of rain. We could have a thunder shower Monday afternoon. It'll be mostly sunny with a high near 80. We'll have partly cloudy skies Monday night, a low 55. Tuesday should be sunny with a high of 78. From the Real Talk 1160 Weatherbug Forecast Center, this is Rod Tanner.
Between the economy and the price of gas, how about a way to save some money for a change? Lower your insurance premium with help from Huseman Schmidt Insurance. They understand more than most because they've been local, family-owned, and part of your community since 1976. Huseman Schmidt's expertise and common sense approach have helped their clients protect their assets and save money. For all your business and personal insurance needs, call Huseman Schmidt at 513-521-8590 and ask for Rob or AJ, or visit HusemanSchmid.com. Huseman Schmid cares. We know you should be working, but seeing as you're on Facebook already, why not flip over to the 1160 page and tell us what you think? Then go to 1160.com and listen while you're online. We're worldwide. Real Talk 1160.
Imagine you're reaching for a pen when you slip and, yep, there goes your coffee, right onto your computer. If you're one of the almost 50% of small businesses that don't back up their PCs, you've just lost data, and there's a good chance you'll lose sales.
From human error to natural disasters, or even those little oops moments, there's always a risk of your computer system going down, and that could really hurt your business. Take it from Doug McDonald at the Cincinnati Museum Center.
Like every other business, data is critically important. We have over 80,000 records of donors and members who are critical to our livelihood.
That may be enough to make you give up coffee forever, but there's a better way. How does the Museum Center do it?
Cincinnati Bell is a wonderful partner, and with them, I don't worry about these things. That gives me peace of mind.
So don't swear off coffee just yet, because Cincinnati Bell is now offering data backup, part of our Peace of Mind suite. Get 25 gigs for just $25 for 12 months. Now that should help you relax, unless you've had too much coffee. Just call 513-2-BUNDLE or visit myrightsolution.com/backup. Cincinnati Bell, right here for you.
Did you know Fear Buick GMC in Hamilton has been family owned and operated and serving the tri-state since 1932? Isn't that the kind of dealership you want to buy your next car from? And because of that success, Fear Buick GMC announces their upcoming move later this year to their new 26,000 square foot location between Menards and Kohl's near Bridgewater Falls. Come see Ray Tenley, Fear's general manager for the past 25 years, and tell him Dipsticks and Deal sent you. Call 513-863-8111 or visit fearmotors.com. That's FIEHRER Motors.com.
America's bravest warriors are returning home wounded.
My name is Norberto Lara. While I was on a combat patrol, a rocket propelled grenade took my arm off at the shoulder. I was discharged from the Army, and I've been working with the Wounded Warrior Project since 2007.
Don't suffer in silence. Contact woundedwarriorproject.org.
Hi, I'm Jeff Pecora, one of the voices of the Cincinnati Reds, and I'm here with Colleen Hawes, owner of the premier casual upscale restaurant, Grandview Tavern and Grill.
Thank you, Jeff. It's a place where business meets casual in a social setting. Come enjoy our New York strips, bacon-wrapped shrimp and grits, or specials like pan-seared sea bass, and don't skip dessert. I promise they are worth the calories.
My wife can't get enough of your handmade specialty pizzas, and I love train beers.
Nothing's better than watching our Reds win on one of our 16 flat-screen TVs.
I found the Grandview Tavern and Grill to be the best place for lunch meetings with incredible food and impeccable service.
I'm so excited to be out on the patio again. We pack them in out there. Whether you're here to network for business, have an intimate dinner for two, or dance the night away to live music under the stars, this place is for everyone.
Yeah, since coming to the Grandview Tavern, we feel more comfortable than any of the other restaurants. And by the way, Colleen, your outdoor patio rocks.
Jeff, you're too much. Just Google Grandview Tavern and Grill for the latest happenings and list of music.
Hi folks, Debbie, Rob Key with Rob Key Automotive. I'm here to tell you about Northern Kentucky's best full-service used car store. Shop Rob Key for sales, service, parts, collision repair, and rental car. Rob Key Automotive, where quality is superior, our prices can't be beat, our service is guaranteed, and our parts come with a national warranty. Come visit Rob Key and see why our customers are always smiling. Rob Key Automotive, I-275 at Exit 80 in Northern Kentucky, on the web at GoRobKey.com, or check us out on Facebook for fantastic deals of the week.
We're driven to treat you right.
We know Cincinnati traffic sucks, so thanks for sharing your personal purgatory with Real Talk 1160.
Welcome back to Dipsticks and Deals on Real Talk 1160. You're here with Jimmy B, the third wheel, and we've got Kenny Coltrane sitting in with us today as well. Talking about kids in cars of 50s through current day. Before the break, we were finishing up the 1990s. And during the break, we were just kind of getting into what we're going to talk a little bit more about when we get to the Millennium cars. But there was a big shift in the late 90s from relative to performance, because the cars that were being produced by American car builders were restricted by emissions. The financial economy wasn't great, so they were trying to build cars cheap. And what they produced was nowhere on par with what the Japanese were able to put on the street and the Europeans were able to put on the street. In fact, when we were looking at talking about performance, the Japanese version of all the cars that they had over here were available in Europe. They were available in Asia as hopped up hot rods. I mean, the Infiniti that I drive has a dumbed-down four-cylinder. The same exact car in Japan or over in Europe you could have bought with a turbocharged, punched-out four-cylinder with almost 300 horsepower. So the car culture really started to change, and the American car builders really gave up that performance car dominance. And they got stupid in the late 90s with cars like the Escort GT.
And the Cavalier.
They tried to make a sporty hot rod Cavalier.
Okay, but saying that about the Japanese and the Americans at the time, then what you're telling me then is the auto manufacturers basically in America, their hands were sort of punched in the face, sucker punched by the government with the regulations for emissions and such.
Yep. And they were, and the fuel economy standards that were getting hot and heavy in the 90s was forcing them to come up with not only that, but it was the late 90s when the foreign car sales began to boom. A lot of it relative to fuel economy because they got it and our cars didn't, but they were in a hurry-up mode to produce a car that could compete performance-wise with these foreign cars and meet those standards that the government was putting on them. And I think they failed miserably. I think other than even a car like the Corvette, which is truly the last American muscle car, over and above the Mustang. Because you can bring a Shelby GT500 and I'll go get a Skyline GTR and you'll know what I mean. Okay, so the Corvette really is the last American true performance car. The Corvette in the 90s, oh my God. Even that car suffered.
That was a bad one.
As a world performance car, because it wasn't. It wasn't a Corvette in the 90s. So we saw that big shift going into the new millennium, the Y2K gen, these Gen Y kids that are out there now. We did in our news last week or the week before where they did a study on 19, 20, 21-year-olds who hadn't had their driver's license yet. They didn't see a need.
It's like up to 24 years of age before they even received one.
That's beginning to become the average. And
when they get the first car?
Well, yeah, they don't have a license, so they're not driving.
They ain't driving till they're 24.
They're not interested. I would say if they're college and need a vehicle, they're doing something. But I know from 16 or really 15 and a half to 19, a large and growing percentage of the young people today in this country are not interested in driving because they don't feel they have the need. The gas prices, the job market, all of that is a part of their reasoning, which I understand. But I think we've set ourselves up as a country where we who dominated car performance, a true car culture, handed it over to the Europeans and the Japanese. They got so far advanced, so during the late 80s and through the 90s when we basically built crap, they really came on strong. The offerings that they have today, performance-wise in general, and to be honest with you, style-wise, because the American cars, even outside of performance, if you look at the sedans that they offer, the compact cars that we offer, they're copycats of those cars. They're just a year or two behind in design than the foreign manufacturers still. And the performance just isn't there. So when you are a teen today, the big thing, again, the performance stuff is lagging relative to anything American built. Because really, you can take even the four-door Civics, the Hyundais, well, Hyundai may be a stretch, the Toyotas, you can get real performance parts for these cars.
But do you think that I was just thinking when you were saying this stuff. Do you think this is sort of our fault, even though I know we're the greatest generation ever? No, I'm joking. But anyway, our fault because like you look at some of our kids are in their 20s. They don't appreciate what they could have or have.
Times are different too.
Well, I'm just saying, isn't that our fault for not really introducing them to these cars, the muscle cars later? Or the past generations?
Yes and no. I mean,
because the kids nowadays seem like they're entitled. They feel like they're entitled, but there's a car. This is what they expect to have, and they don't know anything about it. So how do they really appreciate it? They just know it gets them that they want something nice looking, and it gets them to and from, or maybe it's a status. It needs to be a BMW or something like that. But we didn't really push the automotive history basically on these kids.
Well, there's some truth to that, but I think more so the reasoning is these kids, they got too much available to them. In other words, when we were young, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the Xbox game systems, the internet like it is now. We didn't have all the social interaction with. We had to go meet each other. We couldn't Facebook.
Right.
We had to go somewhere and do something and be imaginative and find things to do, and cruising was one of those things. The way I look at it, it's a bunch of stuff put together. It's the failure of American car builders to continue building cars that they want, first of all. The dynamics of what you do with a vehicle have changed. I mean, consider crash standards and things like that. Forced car manufacturers to build the cars that you see. The problem that I have is the Japanese are still able to do it, and the Europeans are still able to do it. How come we're not able to do it? How come they can build Skyline GTRs and the Maxima? I mean, drive a Maxima and then go drive an Impala, please. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The performance car shift, there's a lot of components to it. And that's why these kids today are building the tuner cars. It's what's available. They can't afford to go out and buy a 69 Chevelle that's worth restoring. If they could, they couldn't afford to put it together. It costs too much money.
Exactly. Well, I remember I could work one day and have enough money to buy a part to get more horsepower out of my car, which made it fun to build my car. But today, these parts are so expensive, and there ain't no work. These kids got to work 6 months just to buy a microchip.
Right, and that's the thing. And they're not cheap either. And the wheels and tires, that is the first thing everybody wants to do on these to make the car look good. And I think it does make these cars look good. But there's a difference, which I guess through the generations there's always been this difference, and that's the people who want to do the things to their car that make people think it's fast or a performance car, and the guys who do things to their cars because it makes them fast. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I can put a set of 18-inch or 20-inch wheels and low-pro tires and all that on my car. It really doesn't do anything for it other than kill the gas mileage and probably make it more slow.
Right.
Unless I do some other things performance-related that are going to increase that. But that, like Coltrane said, it gets expensive.
So these kids in the 2000s, you're going to hit this right now. What is it? What do they have to work with?
We're going to get to that. We're up against a break, and I don't want to get too deep into it because some of the stuff they have to work with is really cool, but it's not happening on American-built metal.
But it is definitely the high-tech generation.
Very high-tech. In fact, the cars that these kids can build today would make those factory muscle cars look foolish.
So I really won't understand it.
Not at all.
I know I won't.
We're going to come back and try, though. Dipsticks and Deals on Real Talk 1160.
Hi, folks. Debbie Robke with Robke Automotive. I'm here to tell you about Northern Kentucky's best full-service used car store. Shop Robke for sales, service, parts, collision repair, and rental car. Robke Automotive, where quality is superior. Our prices can't be beat, our service is guaranteed, and our parts come with a national warranty. Come visit Robke and see why our customers are always smiling. Robke Automotive, I-275 at Exit 80 in Northern Kentucky, on the web at GoRobke.com, or check us out on Facebook for fantastic deals of the week.
We're driven to treat you right.
Real Talk 1160.
WQRT, Florence, Cincinnati.
Home of the Bulldog, Eric Dieters. Laura Ingram. Michael Savage. Mike Huckabee. Real Sports with Wildman Walker. And Dennis Miller.
Real Talk 1160.
AP Radio News. I'm Tim McGuire. Medicare, Social Security, taxes, including the release of income tax returns, all part of the Sunday talk show discussions about the presidential campaign. President Barack Obama's campaign advisor Robert Gibbs on Fox News Sunday calling once again for Republican Mitt Romney to release his tax returns.
If Mitt Romney proposes to be president of the United States and lead us through tax reform, shouldn't the American people understand the offshoring and the outsourcing and the tax havens that he takes advantage of?
Romney campaign advisor Ed Gillespie, also on Fox News Sunday, says the candidate has released his 2010 return and 2011 is coming. And Obama and his camp seem to be using the issue as a political smokescreen.
We want a serious campaign about real issues that are facing this country. It is time for that. We will win that debate, and that's why they are trying to avoid that debate.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange tells reporters in London that he and his organization are being persecuted by the U.S.
I ask President Obama to do the right thing. The United States must renounce its witch hunt against WikiLeaks.
Assange granted asylum at the Ecuadorian embassy in London as the British sought to extradite him to Sweden for questioning over allegations of sexual misconduct, has also called on the U.S. to release Army Private Bradley Manning, who's been charged with providing tens of thousands of secret documents that WikiLeaks posted online. The new UN Special Envoy to Syria knows he faces a difficult job trying to broker peace in Syria. Lakhdar Brahimi says his first task is to overcome divisions over Syria within the UN Security Council. Former Algerian foreign minister says the council has to speak with a united voice in order for his mission to succeed. This is AP Radio News. Rain delayed the aerial spraying for mosquitoes carrying the West Nile virus in the greater Dallas area.
Nationally, we come in the state of Texas at about half the cases, and Dallas County proper, we have a full 27% of those cases here.
County spokeswoman Maria Arita, there have been close to 700 confirmed West Nile cases across the country and at least 26 deaths from the disease. The world's oldest commissioned warship, the USS Constitution, will be under sail today, weather permitting, in Boston Harbor.
It is only the second time since 1881 that it's been able to sail on its own like this. It does go out into the harbor fairly frequently, but it's tugged out there kind of for historical display. But the last time it sailed on its own was 1997, the 200th anniversary of when it was launched.
That's the AP's Jay Lindsay reporting that today's sail of Old Ironside comes on the 200th anniversary of the battle in which it got its name in the War of 1812.
Weather when you need it. Your Real Talk 1160 forecast every 15 minutes.
Here's the forecast for northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, and the Tri-State. For this afternoon, partly sunny, high 81. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 58, and a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 p.m. Monday, partly sunny, high near 80. Monday night, mostly cloudy, low 55. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 p.m. From the Real Talk 1160 WeatherBug Forecast Center, this is Jim Tice.
Jerry Doyle.
One of my doctors from Cuba said that if I was in the Cuban healthcare system or the British healthcare system, or if I was in the Obamacare system 5 years from now, you'd already have a toe tag.
The Jerry Doyle Show, weeknights at 7 on Real Talk 1160. Did you know Fear Buick GMC in Hamilton has been family owned and operated and serving the tri-state since 1932? Isn't that the kind of dealership you want to buy your next car from? And because of that success, Fear Buick GMC announces their upcoming move later this year to their new 26,000 square foot location between Menards and Kohl's near Bridgewater Falls. Come see Ray Tenley, Fear's general manager for the past 25 years, and tell him Dipsticks and Deal sent you. Call 513-863-8111 or visit fearmotors.com. That's FIEHRER Motors.com.
If there was an emergency, would your family have enough water and non-perishable food to last 3 days? We asked families across the country. Here are some of their answers.
Well, we depend mostly on our meats, on our refrigerator, on, cooking that way, so most of our foods are in the refrigerator. Once the electricity goes out, your refrigerator goes out, so you can only use that for a certain amount of time.
We usually eat fresh food daily.
In the pantry we have like granola bars and canned tomatoes,
True. That's true, but that's really not survival food, tomato paste.
The brand of dog food that I do purchase for the dogs, as well as the cats, are edible by humans. We could even share the same bowls.
I want my own bowl.
You got your own bowl.
Is your plan any better? To learn more about making an emergency plan for your family, go to ready.gov. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the Ad Council.
Savage. The only cure for extreme liberalism is shock therapy, massive doses of psychotropics, and hopefully years of re-education.
Michael Savage, weekdays at noon on Real Talk 1160.
Hi folks, Debbie. Rob Key with Rob Key Automotive. I'm here to tell you about Northern Kentucky's best full-service used car store. Shop Rob Key for sales, service, parts, collision repair, and rental car. Rob Key Automotive, where quality is superior. Our prices can't be beat, our service is guaranteed, and our parts come with a national warranty. Come visit Rob Key and see why our customers are always smiling. Rob Key Automotive, I-275 at Exit 80 in Northern Kentucky, on the web at GoRobKey.com, or check us out on Facebook for fantastic deals of the week.
We're driven to treat you right.
If you're thinking it, share it with the rest of us. Real Talk 1160. Welcome to Dipsticks and Deals with Jimmy B and the Third Wheel on Real Talk 1160. Everything you need to know about cars, buying, financing, trading, maintenance, repairs, auto body, and more. Join the program by calling 513-579-1160. Now, here are your hosts, Jimmy B and the Third Wheel on Real Talk 1160.
Welcome back after the long break to Dipsticks and Deals on Real Talk 1160, 513-579-1160. If you want to get in with us, we almost got into a scuffle during the break.
Almost, we did.
Things got heated because we're talking about the transition and what I say is the loss or the decline of the American car culture in this country.
And you pointed at me and put your finger
That's
on my shoulder.
because you touched me. I told you never, ever touch me. It's a big deal to me, man, and I do get passionate about it because, like I said when we were coming back in 50 years from now,
I'll be dead.
And I hope I'm gone because I don't want to see it. You're gonna go see these old cars like we saw yesterday in a museum. I don't think there's going to be car shows like as we know now. You're going to go like you go to see old relics and whatnot. You're going to go to a museum and they're going to be behind glass or whatever the case is. And I know there's car museums now, but I'm saying that's going to be the primary. It's going to be like dinosaurs. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to see that happening. I hate more so that the U.S. car builders, which, you know, let's face it, there's not that many left. Okay? Chrysler's not an American car builder. They're owned by Fiat. You see what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So we have given away a piece of our culture that we're not going to get back. And why is it that the Japanese and why is it that the Europeans are able to build these performance cars, these modern-day muscle cars, if you will, and we cannot seem to do it?
Because they don't have the regulations we have.
Well, I don't think
they have to sell them here.
But aren't they changed? Or are they not?
They're under the same guidelines as the American car builders. I mean, relative to getting the economy, staying within the emission guidelines of the United States, and offering performance, they dominate.
Well, these parents don't want their kids running around in these fast cars. That was part of the that's part of where it took place too. You know, like our parents, they had these cars, which therefore we had these cars. But there was that gap, like you said, in the 80s and 90s where people of my age, they didn't get into them cars, you know. And so them parents are now not teaching their children, but they probably don't want them in these fast cars. So they're not going to sit there and say, hey, you don't have enough horsepower in that car.
Well,
so the generation begins to die.
I think you're right, but I think that's wrong only because I would rather have my son in the car he's got because he's got a swapped engine Nissan turbo 6-cylinder car that he has put coil over suspension and stuff on it. This car handles so much better than a 69 Chevelle. You know what I'm saying? The safety belts in it are better. You know, my old Chevelle had a lap belt. He's got a 3-point. You know what I'm saying? So it's safer. He's got airbags. I didn't have airbags. I understand what you're saying. I think, though, the folks that build and drive these cars tend to respect the power a little bit more. They're more into the driving aspect, so they know how to handle it a little better. And besides that, they're building cars that will do this stuff. I mean, the Mustang's a fast car.
I just think an overall, and going into the next 2000s, Generation X or whatever you call them, I think that these kids, overall as a group, less of them appreciate what a vehicle is.
Well, that's true.
They just want a car. It comes with all this stuff, and they're cool with that. They don't really want to go out and enhance it. And I'm talking overall from past generations where you would get a car and you want to enhance it. Even if you didn't know much about cars, that's what happened.
Well, they're a lot more complicated. You know, 2000s and up, especially within the last 5 years, the advances made on these late model cars are, you got to know what you're doing if you're going to want to try to make one perform better. Whether it's the suspension, the engine, transmission, doesn't matter. You have to be a smart cookie to know what you're doing, because when you make modifications to these cars, they can have the opposite effect that you're looking for if you don't do it right, which I've alluded to before, the guys that are putting the cold air intakes in, and they're eliminating that factory airport from down low that draws in cold air from the outside. They're eliminating that and putting this, what they think's cool looking, underneath the hood that butts up against the core support and gets no air. You've done your car a disservice. Now it's not drawing as much air, but it looks cool when you open the hood. That's a cheap add-on, but if you do it, if you got to know what you're doing if you're going to do it right and really try to get some benefit out of it, other than just trying to look cool, like by throwing a set of wheels on, because anybody can do that. These cars are tough to work on, and they're very, very expensive to modify. I think that has the most to do with it. And when you get in an economy like we are right now, a lot of these kids don't have jobs. They're struggling to pay for school and do other things. But like I said when we were on break, they won't spend $400 to get a set of performance injectors, but they'll spend $400 on a phone.
Priorities have changed.
They'll buy an Xbox and they'll pay $60, $70, $80 for a game. They're not that's what they're interested in. They're not interested in the cars anymore. And I'm not interested in the new cars. There's nothing there. I've actually gone with the trend, and the couple of cars that I got that I toy with are Asian cars. They run better. I mean, when you modify them, I can get more out of doing one of those cars than I could doing an old muscle car.
Well, there's also the law has really cracked down completely different than when we used to run with them cars.
Sure.
And the law took a lot of the fun out of it, too. They really put their foot down and said, you can have one of them fast cars, and them cops are going to be following you all day long, to where back in the day, they didn't look twice at you. It was the norm.
It was the norm. Plus, I know from experience being caught street racing, we got a warning and got told to get out of town for the night.
That wouldn't happen today.
You're subject to forfeiture when you drag race and get caught now. I mean, you pretty guaranteed the car's going to get towed, and you could lose it altogether.
Right.
So there are deterrents relative to what's legal, and we don't advocate for street racing. We've said that before, because there's establishments there for you to do that at the drag strip and SCCA events and different things where you can run these cars as hard as you want. And it's never been legal to do it.
Well, these kids still do have underground societies.
And they do, and we're going to get to that when we come back, too, because that's kind of where the focus went to. They don't have Frisch's car hops. You know what I'm saying? They don't have drive-in movie theaters.
I love Frisch's.
They don't have the hot spot to do the cruising. They don't just cruise. We used to have our track that we cruised in Western Hills and in Coleraine and places where all night you just cruise the same track up and back to see who's there and to be seen and talk cars and maybe get a race and that sort of thing. And they don't do any of that anymore. The cruising aspect of hot rodding is gone.
Let's bring it back.
We're going to try to do that when we come back. We got to take a break. You're listening to Dipsticks and Deals. Jimmy B, The Third Wheel, and Coltrane. Real Talk 1160.
Weather when you need it. Your Real Talk 1160 forecast every 15 minutes.
Here's the forecast for northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, and the Tri-State for this afternoon. Partly sunny, high 81. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 58, and a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 p.m. Monday, partly sunny, high near 80. Monday night, mostly cloudy, low 55. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 p.m. From the Real Talk 1160 WeatherBug Forecast Center, this is Jim Tice.
This is Steve Jarnicki, voice of Florence Freedom Baseball. Last night, Eddie Rodriguez and John Malloy each homered as Florence defeated Southern Illinois 7-5. The Freedom now go for the series victory against the Miners. It's a critical series as Brandon Mathis will get the start tonight. Join me for all the action starting at 5:50 between Southern Illinois and the Freedom on Real Talk 1160.
Dennis Miller? We've got an app for that.
I'm the guy who can't seem to figure out how to turn his radio down.
Download TuneIn Radio for your Android, iPhone, or BlackBerry and listen to Real Talk 1160 anytime, anywhere.
Hey, it's the Wild Man for my new favorite hangout, Willie's Sports Cafe in Covington. If you love sports, you'll love Willie's in Covington. They've got sports on flat screens in the restaurant and the bar. Before the Reds game, take the Willie's shuttle to the ballpark for $3. Then back to Willie's to celebrate a Reds win. If you love food, you'll love Willie's in Covington. All appetizers are just $5 every day from 1 to 7. And daily specials like Monday's Burger Madness, a half-pound burger, waffle fries, and a drink for just $7. Tuesdays, Chicken Madness, a chicken sandwich, waffle fries, and a drink for $7. And Wednesdays, Bang Bang Shrimp, just $5. If you love drinks, you'll love Willie's in Covington. The best happy hour every day from 1 to 7. $2 domestic pints and bottles, $3 domestic drafts, well drinks, and house wine. And check out Willie's Outdoor Deck. Enjoy all Willie's has to offer and the great summer weather at the same time. Take it from the Wild Man. You're going to love Willie's Sports Cafe in Covington, just over the Prince Spence Bridge on 75 South, or visit williescovington.com.
Hi folks, Debbie, Rob Key with Rob Key Automotive. I'm here to tell you about Northern Kentucky's best full-service used car store. Shop Rob Key for sales, service, parts, collision repair, and rental car. Rob Key Automotive, where quality is superior. Our prices can't be beat, our service is guaranteed, and our parts come with a national warranty. Come visit Rob Key and see why our customers are always smiling. Rob Key Automotive, I-275 at Exit 80 in Northern Kentucky, on the web at gorobkey.com, or check us out on Facebook for fantastic deals of the week.
We're driven to treat you right.
Listen to what's new.
It's amazing that the Secret Service would do something so dumb. Now, let me be fair. You can't blame Obama for this. And if anybody does, they're just being stupid.
The Mike Huckabee Show, weekday afternoons at 3 on Real Talk 1160.
You've heard of a window of opportunity? How about a window of time? A window to the soul. This is John O'Sleek, and I'm here to tell you about the original 189 window from Window World. And this is your window of opportunity. If you have cheap or inefficient windows, you're losing money. Plain and simple. It's been so hot lately, your windows should be insulating. That means right now, they should be keeping the cool air in and the heat out. If your windows aren't doing their job, your air conditioner is working much harder than it needs to, and that is costing you a lot of money. Just imagine how that can add up. Let Window World give you a free consultation and show you just how much money you can save. Window World, home of the original 189 window. Don't miss out on a great opportunity to save money, insulate your home, and get the best window on the market today. Choose the #1 replacement window company in America. Visit us at windowworld.com. That is windowworld.com. Window World, simply the best for less.
Hey folks, Jimmy B here. Did you know that one of the most important structural aspects of your vehicle is the windshield? It accounts for almost 50% of the rollover strength. That's why you must choose the right company for windshield repair and replacement, and that's Mel's Auto Glass. Mel's Auto Glass has certified professionals serving the tri-state for more than 25 years. Don't trust something so important to anyone else. The experts at Mel's Auto Glass for quality, value, and peace of mind. Call 513-563-7771. That's 513-563-7771.
The Bulldog, Eric Dieters. Weekday mornings at 7. Real Talk 1160.
Dipsticks and Deals with Jimmy B, the third wheel. We're here with Kenny Coltrane sitting in with us today, and we're talking about kids and cars. This is our second week on this, and we're going to wrap it up because we got to move on. But this is something that, if it's not obvious already, I'm quite passionate about because I do not like to see the hot rod car culture disappear. I'm not completely in tune with the tuners, but I think it's sad that American car makers aren't able to compete in that arena either.
Well, you know what it feels like is like we're pitting each other, sort of like East Side West Side thing here in Cincinnati. You know, you're talking generation at cars, decades of people, and it's like I can't stand this decade because look what they're doing to the cars.
I don't believe I ever said that.
That's how I feel.
That's how I feel.
You feel that too, Kenny?
I do.
He's feeling it.
You know, hot rodding,
We're feeling it.
Hot rodding is hot rodding, and customizing cars is customizing cars, and it's just it has to do with availability, means, and taste. And I don't have an issue with anything anybody does to a car if it's something that they like, they enjoy, and it's something that they came up with. I'm all for it. Some of it I wouldn't do to my car, but anytime I see one rolling down the road that somebody's done a little something to, even if it was done homemade in the garage, to me, that's still hot rodding. We got to close this segment out quickly. Diesel trucks got really big, and they're big now. I don't know how the young kids afford to buy those to begin with.
And a bit out of hand.
Put the big exhaust and stacks and controllers and programmers on them. That costs big money too. But the big diesel truck stuff is getting hot. Asian popularity, of course, we talked about that. Electronics, gadgets, gauges, suspension and brake upgrades are where they're heading now. Interior lighting. Stereo's not as big, but everything's moved to MP3, satellite. I see a lot of kids with beads and garbage hanging from their mirrors. We talked about what used to dangle from your mirrors, and I see a lot of the colored beads and stuff these days.
Kind of used down there at
Mardi Gras. And I don't know the significance of that, but
I like those beads.
We'll close this out real quick with we talked about where each generation kind of hung out and where they did their thing. I already said they don't do the cruising stuff like we used to and like they did in the past, but they do have these underground societies that Third Wheel mentioned. They've got these groups of these folks that get together with these cars. They have predetermined places where they meet until the cops come and run them off. I think that's sad. I think they should have a place to go like we did where they don't get run off. It's as long as they don't get out of control, what's the big deal? You know what I'm saying? So they are having to go from place to place. And they have places plotted out. We get run out of here. We're all going to take off, and we're going to converge over here in this spot. So it's kind of its own little secret society, little culture, kind of based on that Fast and Furious movie. That's kind of where they're getting that from.
Based on your son's the leader of these groups.
He's not. Okay, listen. We have to move forward, and we got to talk about fuel prices, and I hope Third Wheel did his homework. What do you got, fuel?
Well, the national average low is $3.72. You know what it was a month ago?
What? Tell us.
And then it's not like it makes me feel any better. $3.44.
Yeah, but that makes,
That's a month, man.
Yeah.
Come on, really?
I'll take that savings.
And in the tri-state, our low is $3.68.
$3.68.
Wow.
We're pathetic. Anyway, the high, I'm not going to say where, is $3.89 in tri-state.
Probably down the street from my house.
It's not far from my house.
You guys pay a lot for gas over there, but you guys can afford it.
Remember the east side, west side comment that I made earlier?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Jim is referring to me as the east side.
It's old money, new money. That's the only difference, brother.
Well, you just get a bicycle and you ain't got to worry about the fuel pump.
You know what they used to say? East side had the credit, west side had all the cash under the mattress.
Yeah, but I'm going to say something. This doesn't have anything to do with cars, but I'm going to say it because you're really making me mad. And that is, years and years ago, before I kind of moonlighted with a contractor that did work, electrical work and things like that. This is the truth. We worked all over town. Every time I went into a house on the west side of town, I was either offered a beer or a sandwich.
Amen.
On the east side, I got asked to take my shoes off. That was it. Moving forward.
Well, that's what? They want you to take your shoes off?
Yeah. Which we did as courtesy on the west side, too. But
I offered you sushi and wine.
Exactly. Thanks for making my point for me, East Sider. All right. Are you done with fuel?
Yes, I am done.
Did you look up diesel?
It's about 20 cents more.
Thanks.
That's all I want to say.
Thanks. I can tell how much effort you put into that. How about the car of the week? Now, listen, we did car of the week this week, unknowing that there was going to be one of these at Easy Street in their showroom yesterday, which is a 1949 Plymouth Special Deluxe Woody. This is the car with the wood on the side, the station wagon.
Isn't it that big one?
Big car, 117 to a 220 cubic inch, 6-cylinder, 8-passenger wagon. This car was made with white ash and mahogany wood on the side. And here's what's cool. The wood was actually a structural component of the car. It wasn't just cosmetic. Showed Coltrane yesterday on that car where the interior door shell was metal. The whole entire exterior of the door was actually the wood.
Really?
Yep. Yes. Yep. It's not glued on wood. It's part of the car.
Did you have to treat it?
Yes.
Yes.
You had to take care of it.
Is there an echo?
There was only 3 paint colors available in that car, which was Malibu Brown, Edmonton Beige, and Rio Maroon. The car is now iconic for surfers, thanks to the Beach Boys referencing the car in Surf City, USA.
So I can make a car out of wood. They did it. I can do it.
I wouldn't doubt that you could do it. You probably
He is
could.
good at wood.
He is a good woodworker.
Now, when did the 8-passenger stop? That wasn't in the 70s? Because I love those wagons.
I think, late 70s. They outlawed, actually, that reverse tilt-up rear seat, the death seat.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
People falling out or something?
Rear-end collisions, and that's where you always put the kids. Not a good idea.
That's right. No seatbelts either.
Yeah, I don't think there were seatbelts in them. So they outlawed those. So, Dipstick of the Week. I think we got a pretty good one here.
This is stupid.
Denise Barton. I don't know how old this woman is. She's from Santa Monica, California. Denise is suing the city of Santa Monica for $1.7 billion. Yes, billions.
I need to get her number.
Billions. Why? She claims that the wireless credit card accepting parking meters that were recently installed are giving her health problems, including ringing ears and dizziness.
She needs to take the underwear off her head and take her medicine.
She wants $1.7 million for every month that the meters have been in operation. The city should also warn people about hazardous Wi-Fi meters and other health issues. What a dipstick. Come on. Why would they allow her to waste the court's time, the taxpayers' dollars, on something like this?
I can guarantee you, as former law enforcement, that woman's nuts. But the lawyer,
he took it.
He's worse.
Yeah, because he took it. You got a case here. Yeah. Matter of fact, I got a little ringing in my ear.
What a waste.
I just don't see how they introduced that into the court. It's claiming damages and totaling $1.2 billion.
Ma'am, can you take
really?
Ma'am, can you take the foil off your head if you're going to be in the courtroom?
Have you or any member of your family
Listen, we do have something big in the works. There's going to be some details forthcoming. I will go ahead. Should we announce the January deal now?
Let's do it. What are you talking about?
You think we should? Third wheel?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I was holding it until September, but go ahead.
Well, that's why I was asking. I don't have to say anything.
What are y'all talking about?
Well, let's talk about this first. Something big in the works for next year, maybe so big that we have to hold it off to 2014. Dipsticks and Deals is going to host a car show.
And it's trying to
break a world record. But I'm not feeling real good about that. But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter because what we're going to do is going to be off the hook. We are talking to a very large venue in the tri-state that will host it in combination with some national acts. So this is going to be a big deal. If not the biggest in the world, the biggest in the tri-state.
I like it. I love it.
And Kenny apparently doesn't look at our eyeballs and see how serious we are.
No, I believe you.
Check out dipsticksanddeals.com for cruise in car show information. We have radio show archives available on Dipsticks and Deals. You can live stream from dipsticksanddeals.com.
Check out our sponsors on Dipsticks.
All our sponsors are on there.
Great deals.
Awesome deals. Listen, we're going to discuss whether or not we're going to lay out our January plans when we come back. Dipsticks and Deals on Real Talk 1160.
Weather when you need it. Your Real Talk 1160 forecast every 15 minutes.
Here's the forecast for northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, and the tri-state. For this afternoon, partly sunny, high 81. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 58, and a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 p.m. Monday, partly sunny, high near 80. Monday night, mostly cloudy, low 55. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 p.m. From the Real Talk 1160 WeatherBug Forecast Center, this is Jim Tice.
Attention business owners and individuals who owe the IRS. Do you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes? You need aggressive representation. Call Certified Tax now at 800-440-5360 and speak to one of our tax attorneys, enrolled agents, or tax professionals who specialize in tax liens, back taxes, tax debt, wage garnishment, and collections. We won't waste a minute helping you with your tax problems. We'll be on the phone with the IRS within 30 minutes of you becoming a client. We've settled millions of dollars of tax issues for a fraction of the cost. Find the peace of mind knowing the IRS will not be knocking on your door. Protect your home, business, and family today. We know the tax laws and we act fast. Call today for your free, no-obligation consultation. 800-440-5360. Remember, we'll be on the phone with the IRS within 30 minutes of you becoming a client. That's guaranteed. Call Certified Tax at 800-440-5360. That's 800-440-5360. Again, 800-440-5360.
Between the economy and the price of gas, how about a way to save some money for a change? Lower your insurance premium with help from Huseman Schmidt Insurance. They understand more than most because they've been local, family-owned, and part of your community since 1976. Huseman Schmidt's expertise and common sense approach have helped their clients protect their assets and save money. For all your business and personal insurance needs, call Huseman Schmidt at 513-521-8590 and ask for Rob or AJ, or visit HusemanSchmidt.com. Huseman Schmidt cares.
Here at Columbia Hyundai, because of high trade value, it's possible to trade in your used car and keep your current payment or even lower it for a comparable new Hyundai.
Wow, John, what are we talking about payment-wise?
Right now, get a new 2013 Hyundai Accent for $149 a month, or a new 2013 Elantra for $169 a month, or a new 2013 Sonata for just $179 a month. This is a 36-month lease. Other than tax and title, only $19.99 due at signing. And all these cars get over 40 miles per gallon on the highway.
This is National Fuel Efficiency Month.
National Fuel Efficiency Month is not an official government holiday, but it is with new Hyundai buyers. Plus, all new Hyundais come with America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and the Hyundai Assurance.
That's a better warranty than a Jaguar.
And we can get finance approval in 30 minutes or less, even if you have blemished credit. And remember, we need good trades, so we'll give you top dollars for yours.
Only at Columbia Hyundai on Montgomery Road at I-275.
Call 489-2000 or see our video at ColumbiaHyundai.com.
Hi folks, Debbie. Rob Key with Rob Key Automotive. I'm here to tell you about Northern Kentucky's best full-service used car store. Shop Rob Key for sales, service, parts, collision repair, and rental car. Rob Key Automotive, where quality is superior. Our prices can't be beat, our service is guaranteed, and our parts come with a national warranty. Come visit Rob Key and see why our customers are always smiling. Rob Key Automotive, I-275 at Exit 80 in Northern Kentucky, on the web at GoRobKey.com, or check us out on Facebook for fantastic deals of the week.
We're driven to treat you right.
Hey, it's the Wild Man from Real Sports 1160, here with my friend Rob Bullock from Bullock Roofing.
Hey, Wild Man.
Rob, I hear you guys are the roofing experts.
That's right, Wild Man. If it has to do with the roof, we can handle it. Roof contracting and replacement, shingles, gutters, chimney repair, skylights. We even offer replacement windows.
Now, what sets Bullock Roofing apart from the other guys?
Wild Man, we are the roofing experts. We do it once, we do it right, and our pride shows in our work. Our customers mean the world to us, and their satisfaction speaks volumes. We're based on old-fashioned value and fair prices.
And word of mouth today is everything.
That's right. Our popularity has grown thanks to our customers telling their family and friends about our quality work.
Take it from Rob Bullock with Bullock Roofing. If you need help with your roof, gutters, chimney, even replacement windows, get the treatment you deserve from the experts at Bullock Roofing.
We service the entire greater Cincinnati area. Find us on the web at bullockroofing.com. That's bullockroofing.com. Call us for a free estimate today at 513-771-2096.
Traffic and weather, mornings and afternoons. Real Talk 1160.
Dipsticks and Deals, Real Talk 1160. We had our meeting, and I think we're okay to discuss January. We've been invited to do something.
Yes, something I think is huge.
Yeah, we were invited to be a part of and broadcast from Cavalcade of Customs this year.
All right.
Down at the Convention Center. We'll discuss that in meeting number 2.
That's a separate meeting, okay?
But yeah, we're gonna be down at the Cavalcade of Customs this year. We're gonna be down there and hopefully tag along with some of our sponsors. So we invite everybody a little early, but we'll talk about this obviously more the closer we get. But pretty big deal, and we appreciate being invited down. We'll be the Automotive Car Talk radio show, the only one at Cavalcade, and we'll broadcast our show from there on the Sunday of the show, which is in January. And we'll have the date and all that kind of stuff as it gets closer. So that's big. The Dipsticks and Deals car show that we're wanting to put together with some folks. We'll have more details as that develops. that will be next year. Possibly 2014 if it's going to get as big as what we think with the concert and all the other we're talking about some celebrities and such that we're going to have there. So big deal. Big things coming in the future. We're excited about that.
A lot of the car shows, people can meet us. I mean, we're out on most of them.
Yeah,
The
we
bigger
go out
ones.
on most of them, and we sign autographs and get pictures with babies and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's only $1.
Is that it?
Hey, in NASCAR, we had a lead change. Jimmy Johnson now is one up on Greg Biffle.
Yes, he is.
I love Biffle.
Dale Jr. falls to fourth behind Matt Kenseth. They race in Michigan today at noon. And did you hear about Danica Patrick's deal in the nationwide race?
No.
Was leading 20 laps straight away, doing really well, looking good as always. And somebody threw a shoe out in the middle of the track, and she ran over it.
I had nothing to do with that.
2-3 laps after that, stuff started falling off the bottom of her car, and she had to pit 3 times. And
That's dumb.
yeah,
I mean,
threw a shoe onto a racetrack where cars are going 200
Did they
miles an
find the
hour.
person that did that?
I hope so, because that's dangerous.
You'd think it would have been easy unless they packed the shoe in just for that purpose. Look for the guy with one shoe missing.
Whoever threw the shoe did not understand how fast 180 miles an hour is.
Yeah, that's just that qualifies for Dipstick, but we didn't know who it was. So, but yeah, there's a video you can watch that shows the shoe flying out onto the track, and then here come the cars, and she's the lead car, and she runs right over it.
That's terrible. It can only be so close, though, because the shoe can only fly so far. Hey, real
That
quick.
was funny.
Real quick, though, I didn't know the Scorpion, who does a spray liner, sponsors a car.
Scorpion does in the Nationwide Series sponsor a car. Kenny or David Reagan, number 34. Yeah, in the Nationwide Series, Scorpion does have a car.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. What we want to talk about now, we're going to shift gears. We're into fourth gear here on the show. Dealership myths, car dealership myths.
Big topic.
And there's several of them, and I hope you have some because I only wrote down a few off the top of my head. But I know one of the big ones is, and this doesn't apply to everybody, but a lot of people think that the dealers are the ones who set the MSRP, which is completely false. It's manufacturer's suggested retail price set by the manufacturer, and it is now actually closely regulated because it used to be the MSRP was set by the manufacturer and set to a point that they had some negotiation room. They don't let them do that anymore. It's more closer to the actual value relative to and subject to demand, because MSRP on a car that's limited production, a hot model, you can pay more than MSRP relative to demand. If all the dealers in your market are getting $2,000 above sticker price, guess what?
Well, and that's like those
They're going to
high-end.
sell it to you for that, and that's legal.
That's like those high-end cars.
Right.
What was that Ford? The
GT40?
Yeah, the thing's like $140,000 or whatever.
Yeah, and the Cobra
They can
GTR.
They sell it, and it's
Or Cobra R model.
I won't buy one of them.
Yeah, those were like $10,000 over MSRP.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
the track model.
So is that part of the myth though? As far as if I went into a dealership and I said, "Hey, you got the, I want to see the invoice." Because that was a myth too,
No,
right? They can adjust
and
the
that
invoice?
is, having a lot of people think that the dealership has multiple invoices
Right.
for
I
cars.
want to see the real invoice.
Yeah, they have somebody that manufactures these fake invoices, and they don't do that.
They are what they are.
They are what they are. They are the literal invoice, what the dealer pays for the car, including freight, excludes prep, excludes add-ons, accessories, anything the dealer would add to it gets put onto that in an addendum. But no, dealerships do not have fake invoices that they show you to lie to you, and it's illegal. I've never, in almost 30 years, ever known a dealer that had fake invoices.
Well, I remember when I was in the business a little bit, people at X Plan. Remember the plans?
Right.
They still didn't believe you.
Right. That everybody thinks that the dealership is getting one over on them, which is leads to the other myth here I got, which is dealers make thousands and thousands of dollars on new cars. Totally false. In fact, it's way short margins these days.
It was like that in the 80s.
In the 80s, there was a lot higher markup, but you were also dealing with that fictitious MSRP.
Right.
And that's all gone. And these dealers do not have those giant margins. And when you consider a car dealership like any other business, okay, it's a lot less profitable selling these new cars, a lot more at least than what you would think. The cars cost them from the factory, They have to pay interest on these cars every month until they sell. Facility, personnel expense, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just not a lot of markup, and it's very expensive to run a new car franchise.
Right.
It's expensive to run an independent used car store.
Yeah, don't go in looking at a $20,000 or $40,000 car, you will still have more markup in that car, the more expensive the car is.
Mm-hmm.
But don't go look at a car that's $10,000, $13,000, and expect to get $2,000-$3,000 off.
Right.
That's just ridiculous.
The margins on new cars really aren't there, and I can tell you, in this economy since 2008, they are a whole lot shorter on used cars too. Used car market and what they're having to put into these cars to make deals work, to get them on their lot, get them ready. The margins are a lot shorter on the used cars too. So they don't have fake invoices. They don't set MSRP. They are not making a killing. That's why volume is so important, which leads us to another point or another myth. You always get better financing or lower interest rates outside of the dealership. Not true. It's not true. Car dealers, and we've talked about this a couple times on shows, they deal with banks every day. They they have the pull to get good rates, good terms. They have the ability to shop around. They have the ability to shop around quickly, find the best financing. Now, usually, if you're a member of a credit union, you're likely going to get your best used car rate and term from your personal credit union. And that's not always the case, but those are the only ones that can compete with a dealer, honestly.
Right, and you're talking usually when you want to say a car that's 3 to 4 years old where you're going to go up to 48 months.
Right, exactly.
But your standard bank really won't have that rate available.
Exactly. So the dealership can actually arrange, in a lot of cases, better financing than what you can do on your own if you go shopping at a bank, even your own bank. Because unlike a credit union where they don't really know you, you know what I mean? There's not that personal kind of relationship. Car dealers have that with the banks, and they can do that for you.
And a real quick point is do your shopping and find out what you can buy and worth.
Sure.
Rate.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Get pre-approved.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple shows ago, too, and it's huge. I mean, it is. You can get a better deal at the end of the month. Not really true.
Not anymore.
That just sounds true.
Well, it sounds true, but it's not, and I'll tell you why. Dealers are doing everything they can to put people in cars. It doesn't matter if it's the first of the month, the middle of the month, or the end of the month. Because these margins are shorter, the profit margin's shorter on cars when they sell them, they don't have that much room anymore.
And the dealers are relying more on incentives.
They are.
So to give you those deals, and that's where you feel like you're getting a better deal towards the end of the month or towards the end of the year.
Well, the salesmen, they're thinking.
Well, no, the incentives from the manufacturers is what you're relying on to give somebody a better deal, to move that 2012 car out in 2013, because I think 2013's coming around June or July, right, for new cars?
August.
Okay.
Mid to late August, yeah. Right. So, I mean,
that's really only where you're going to get the benefit.
It is, and I'm telling you, and it all boils down to they're going to work as hard to make a deal on day one as they are on day 31. There really isn't that big wait till the last month because they got to get one more unit over the curb. It really doesn't work that way.
And they don't know when these incentives are coming, people.
That's right, and deals can roll to the next month on accounting, and so really they got 10, 15 days to play with. It's really not end of the month to the dealer, so don't let that that myth play into what your car buying decision time frame is. Best time to buy a car is when new model years come out.
Again, it's based on incentives.
Well, it's based on incentives. In fact, there may be some extra incentives from the manufacturer on leftover units. The truth is, the car dealers, by that time, really don't have that much more left. We'll get into this some more. Dipsticks and Deals, Real Talk 1160.
Weather when you need it. Your Real Talk 1160 forecast every 15 minutes.
Here's the forecast for northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, and the Tri-State for this afternoon. Partly sunny, high 81. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 58, and a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 p.m. Monday, partly sunny, high near 80. Monday night, mostly cloudy, low 55. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 p.m. From the Real Talk 1160 Weatherbug Forecast Center, this is Jim Tice.
Hi, folks. Debbie Robke with Robke Automotive. I'm here to tell you about Northern Kentucky's best full-service used car store. Shop Robke for sales, service, parts, collision repair, and rental car. Robke Automotive, where quality is superior. Our prices can't be beat, our service is guaranteed, and our parts come with a national warranty. Come visit Robke and see why our customers are always smiling. Robke Automotive, I-275 at Exit 80 in Northern Kentucky, on the web at GoRobke.com, or check us out on Facebook for fantastic deals of the week.
We're driven to treat you right.
We know you should be working, but seeing as you're on Facebook already, why not flip over to the 1160 page and tell us what you think? Then go to 1160.com and listen while you're online. We're worldwide. Real Talk 1160.
You want speed? You want power? You want style? You want something that turns heads? Then you want Easy Street Speed and Customs in Milford. Easy Street offers everything from minor repairs to full restoration, custom builds, late model mod, performance parts, and an on-site dyno for real performance tuning. Hot rods and cool rides at Easy Street Speed and Custom, 701 Chamber Drive in Milford, 513-831-7550. That's 513-831-7550.
How's the expansion plans going for your business?
Oh, I'm holding off until the economy improves.
Really? Are your competitors on hold for the next few years?
Well,
I'm not waiting. I called General Steel Corporation. Their steel buildings have been used for businesses, churches, and schools around the world. They showed me how to save real money on a building designed for my needs and to my specifications. I can actually operate more efficiently in a building they helped me design, while my competitors are sitting on the sidelines waiting for economic change. I'm going to make my own change and take market share. When this economy turns around, I'll be in the lead. Come on, you didn't start your business by waiting for someone to tell you when the time is right. Stop sitting on your hands and pick up the phone. Oh, and ask about these rebates that can save you up to $20,000.
Call 800-215-2418, 800-215-2418. That's 800-215-2418.
If you drive a car, you must have this number, 1-800-828-0159. The number to STI Towing, the Tri-States Towing Pros. STI handles most motor clubs, including AAA, and they offer prompt, courteous, and professional service all day and all night. Mention Real Talk 1160 and the first 5 miles are free. That's 1-800-828-0159. 1-800-828-0159 for STI Towing.
This is Real Sports with Wild Man Walker.
So you're going to give up watching wrestling to watch the Olympics? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say I was going to give up watching anything. I had time that's not designated for wrestling. Yeah, I might.
Real Sports, weekdays at 5 on Real Talk 1160.
Reincarnation Auto Body and Paint of Northern Kentucky. This is Don. May I help you?
Don, this is Rick from 1160, man.
Hey, Rick. How are you doing?
Not good. Okay, long story short, Pecoro loaned me his car to go pick up his dry cleaning, and on my way out, I backed right into a light pole. He is going to kill me.
All right, Rick. Settle down. Bring it in, and I'll personally inspect the damage. I'm positive we can take care of it with no problem at all.
You are the man. But Don, this has to stay between me and you.
Hi, I'm Don Metalka, owner of Reincarnation Auto Body and Paint. Bring your damaged vehicle, and I will personally take the time to show you why Reincarnation is different. We're flexible with your deductible, and I know my experience with handling insurance companies will help you get your repairs done smoothly. Just Google Reincarnation of Northern Kentucky, where we bring good cars back to life. Reincarnation Auto Body and Paint, Don Metalka speaking.
Hey, Don, it's Pecoro. See, I was out driving in the wife's van, and I drove by your lot, and I thought I saw a car that looked like mine.
Yeah, that's a popular color.
If it's on your mind, it's probably on ours too. Real Talk 1160.
There I am. We were talking about car dealership myths. We're downshifting, hitting the brakes here toward the end of Dipsticks and Deals, but we did want to finish this up because we were talking about rebates. Rebates as a myth are negotiating tools for the dealer and affect what they pay for the car. And the truth of the matter is the rebates are from the manufacturer, and they're just that. They're a rebate. If you find a car with a rebate, it has nothing to do with the sale price. You can still negotiate the price, take advantage of the rebate as cash or down payments.
Yep.
What do you think of that third wheel?
I actually didn't pay any attention to you at the time.
That's why I always put you on the spot, because I can tell.
What'd you just say?
Bumper-to-bumper warranty.
Good one.
That is a good one. I've got a bumper-to-bumper warranty for 36,000 miles. Here's the deal.
Not legal.
Most manufacturers across the board, foreign, domestic, doesn't matter. 12 months is that window when you can get a manufacturer to do just about anything to a car. Outside of that, 12,001 miles. Exterior trim is not covered, okay, because of the elements and wear and tear, etc. So 12 months on exterior trim, 12 months on adjustments. So if you come in and let's say something easy to understand, your headlight seems like it's out of adjustment, not covered. Doesn't mean a dealer won't do it for you as goodwill, but it's not covered. Adjustments are not covered. Anything they have to tweak or do to the car, 1212 is the limit on adjustments, exterior trim, and there's some other items too. So there really isn't truly a bumper-to-bumper warranty, although it's touted all over the place, and everybody believes like everything on this car is covered, and the truth of it's not. And a lot of people out there that have had to experience this sort of thing understand that that is the case.
What about the warranty? Talking about warranties, that's not true and not legal.
It's not a warranty. It's a service contract.
About keeping your receipts and making sure you come back to our dealership or whatever.
Oh, where you have to go to the car dealer where you bought the car to maintain your warranty?
Yeah.
Totally untrue, illegal if they've told you that. You can have your vehicle serviced anywhere you like. My personal recommendation is if you do that, request OE parts. You don't want to put yourself in a position where a manufacturer can say, well, we see you had the oil changed every time, which is great, but you use Billy Bob's oil filters, which is the cause for the problem you're having. So request very high quality, top shelf, so to speak, or OE filters and good oil and that sort of thing, just to protect yourself. But you can get that a lot of times for less money outside the dealership. Not always the case, because there's some dealerships like Fear who have great deals on oil changes and regular maintenance. So
both of them.
It's not always the case, but in general, that can be the case. But yeah, the advantage that a dealership has, because a lot of people I've heard, dealerships have better service technicians and all this kind of stuff. And that's not always the case, because just with any other service provider, independent or otherwise, there's good techs and there's not so good techs. I mean, that's just the way it is. The edge the dealers actually have is the ability to obtain information more quickly. Dealers have ready access to service bulletins, information, and training, generally for the late model cars, the newest, 3 models and newer, okay, where it really counts. They'll have all that information before an independent shop. Now, there's the Right to the Repair Act. Right to Repair Act is legislation that's been introduced in the last couple of years that would actually end that advantage, forcing manufacturers to put that stuff out there for all the independents to make it a more even playing field and give consumers more options, and I think that's a good thing.
That's fair.
That's exactly what it is. Right to Repair Act. Where are we at, Third Wheel?
We just ended your topic. You like to do that when I'm researching something else. That's cool.
It's the name of the game because I've lost all my paperwork.
Well, since we had a little mishap earlier, that
was not my fault.
That Kenny was running around the building.
Nope.
I wanted to remind everyone about the Dipsticks and Deals Gas, Cash, and Crash contest this week. $25 gas card, $25 in cash, or crash the show on the radio like Kenny does every week.
No doubt.
I just want the cash.
Yeah, sure, buddy. Just log into Facebook, make sure you're a fan of our page, and answer the trivia question. And that question is, what is the date that Doc, from Back to the Future, set in the DeLorean time machine for he and Marty in Back to the Future 2?
Right.
I almost answered.
And the thing is, too, is this... Well, there was a big hoax on Facebook. Relative to this. Yeah. And it happened 3 or 4 times this summer already where somebody puts a Photoshop picture of the time machine thing.
And the date.
And the date is today's date. And they say, hey, today's the day that... And it's not. It was fictitious. So there is a real date. That is the trivia question. $25 in gas, $25 in cash, or you can crash the station and sit in here with us. And we'll just have a good time like we did today. You got anything else worthwhile?
Do I?
Yeah.
Well, I got the song of the week, but I'll mention that in about
You got a lot of paperwork over
5
there.
minutes.
What do you think about the carriers that you use relative to insurance? And this is something we're going to talk about a little bit next week, so I want to give you a little precursor. This black box technology is what I call it, black box. Third wheel's having a tough time over here, so I'm going to put them on the spot. These plug-in things for insurance companies to monitor driving habits, good, bad, give us the skinny.
My personal opinion?
No, you're professional.
I don't like them. I mean, you're giving another, ammunition for them to up and to raise or lower your rates.
Is that the same thing they use for airplanes?
Similar.
The black box?
Crash data.
It's tracking. Yeah, I mean, it's tracking your mileage usage as well.
Well, there's trash. There's trash. There's crash data like in an airplane that they can use, but this is more in tune with monitoring your driving habits when you're not crashing.
Good thing I don't have one of them on my bicycle.
That wouldn't be good, would it?
They have a lot of data.
I don't know. We're going to talk a little bit about that and some other stuff, but it's something that legislatures are looking at as a mandatory item on new cars.
Don't like that.
And with wireless technology and stuff that's out there, it seems to me it would be readily accessible by a whole host of folks.
Yes.
And that seems to be a bit of an inclusion into my privacy, if you will, or my privacy, because I like to say privacy.
You want to read an email? You want an email?
Do you have one?
Email question? Yeah, from Lisa.
Okay, you want to read Lisa's or you want me to read it?
No, I got it. It says, just came across it. I have a 2004 Ford Mustang with 88,000 miles on it. I have not had many problems with the car, but I just had to get my second set of tires on it. And the shop is telling me I need a 90,000 mile service. My owner's manual doesn't list all the things that they tell me I need at 90,000 miles. I don't understand why I would need service for severe driving conditions since I don't drive in severe conditions. What services should I have done?
This show.
It's Coltrane.
Lisa, hang in there.
It's Coltrane's problem because everything's fine until he shows up. Lisa, great question, but here's the main point before we get to Song of the Week that I want to make on that. First of all, they're going to market lower maintenance needs, okay, because it sounds better to the consumer. Less maintenance equates to less cost, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the truth of the matter. In the climate and the area of the country that we live in, you should follow the severe driving habit schedule. And there's a lot of manufacturers out there. If you look at the owner's manual right now in your vehicle and look at severe driving conditions or look it up online, you're probably going to see a 3,000 to 4,500 mile oil change. But all you ever hear in the media and all these myths they're busting is about how you can go 75,000 miles or better. And the truth is stop-and-go traffic, hilly climate, pollution rates. We're in a severe driving climate.
Okay, we are.
Song of the Week.
Song of the Week, 1976. Johnny Cash and the Tennessee 3. One piece at a time. This song about working at a Cadillac factory and stealing a Cadillac. One piece at a time off the assembly line. The last number one song for Johnny Cash.
Appreciate you being with us here. I hope to see you next week.
Kenny won't be here.
I think the management's going to come down and have a little meeting with us.
I'll be here. You watch.
I hope you guys had fun, too. We'll see you next week. Dipstick and Deals on Real Talk 1160.
I'd have me a car worth at least $100,000. I'd get it one piece at a time, and it wouldn't cost me a dime. You'll know it's me when I come through your town.